Welcome back, everybody, to the final installment of Titan Watch Podcast. And I am Brad Jost with Tom Jurassic here. And, should I call you Tom
Yes.
Monarch at this point? Tom, what? Should you have a different name?
Monarch,
I don't know.
yeah.
Tom Monarch. We've
Yeah,
fully
just call me
transformed. Tom Monarch here. And we are going to be discussing
I
Tim.
don't have that level of cool energy. Yeah.
By the time these episodes end and we've talked about Tim a lot, I end up getting confused. I'm like, Tim, where can people find you? I've said it before. I'm like, I mean, Tom. But anyway,
Well, if you want to find me, Tim, just visit collectjurassic.com.
Great start to our final episode here, episode 10 of season 2 of Monarch Legacy of Monsters. This one's called Where We Belong. And we're going to see if this is it, if this is where they belong. We'll find out.
Brad, right here, podcasting together.
This is where we belong, absolutely. So yeah, I'm feeling grateful first off that Apple was able to, let us watch all of these episodes ahead of time, and we're not recording them super early, but like I'm grateful that we at least had the chance to do this on our own time and figure this out. But wonderful show.
Me too.
I
enjoyed watching all of these episodes way far in advance.
Way.
It was great.
Yeah, I was like, I'll catch up when I get to it, when I get the chance. Unfortunately, there's just too much television to watch at the moment. But let's start off here. The last thing that we had done in the previous episode was Kentaro mentioned to Kate that he wants to save Hiroshi. But we kicked this one off in the jungle, this nice wide shot of the jungle, and there's some sort of creatures shrieking in the jungle. And I think we, I don't know if we see the helicopter or not. I feel like we may have, but we do get to, we do get Keiko and Lee, and Lee's trying to contact Tim. Speaking of Tim, but he doesn't get him. So Keiko feels bad now. Because she's learned everything. That she's learned about Bill, and she feels bad about actually believing that Bill would have abandoned Hiroshi. But he was just literally just trying to get the family back together. Now, let's also state that maybe it's not the greatest way to go about it, like abandoning the child for however long. I have no idea. But like he did. Let's not forget he did. Kind of like let that go.
I mean, hey, at the end of the day, Hero survived, right? Like, that's the main thing.
Yeah, he did for a while at least. Oh
wait!
Like,
oh my God! Yeah.
You forgot.
Yeah.
Kind of survived for a little bit, but didn't. But that's the whole crux of this final story here.
Yeah.
But we do know that the jungle starts to shake, and Lee and Keiko, I think, who's here at this moment? I think it's Lee and Keiko. They kind of jump out of the way because these roly-polies, these spiky things, start rolling by, and I loved. What are they called?
Caterpillars.
Oh my God, I thought you were going to come at me with like some good information, and you said caterpillars. Okay. So they end up hiding in a chopper, which I love this detail because it has to be a chopper from Skull Island, right?
Yes. Well, it definitely is, because a little detail they put on, and I paused it and did a Google search to check when I was watching the episode. It has the same logo for the aviation brigade that the helicopters in Kong Skull Island have got on them.
That's
Boom.
awesome.
There's your little detail. Suck on that, Brad Jost.
Wow, this is the last episode, guys. We are just on it right now. But yeah, so they assume that the roly-poly things are running away from something, like, because they didn't care that the humans were there. They just kind of blew on by, didn't care at all. And we go to now the old Monarch base, and Titan X is struggling. I think at this point it's been like injected with the stuff, and the synapses are firing and whatever's happening there. But Kentaro lets him know that he found Kate. So he's ratting her out right away. And he feels to be like growing extreme about his dad at this point. And he thought that Kate would maybe understand a little bit, but no. So they end up locking Kate in like some closet or something. And Isabel mentions that like, hey, we need to keep Titan X stable until Kong arrives. So anything there that stands out to you?
Yeah, so there's a couple of bits. So before we get to this point, we do actually see Kong. So we get the reveal of Kong being the reason why the caterpillars are running away. And when you
Oh yeah,
see
yeah,
him,
that's
he
right.
looks absolutely fuming. Like, I've written a British word that starts with P, which summarized exactly how he looks. He is not a happy man, or a happy primate even. But also, there's a really interesting line of dialogue that Kentaro has where he says Kong and Titan X are expendable if they can save his dad. And I just think that
Mm,
shows how far his character has fallen, in terms of the fact that
yeah.
he was a character who I feel like was quite empathetic towards the animals in a way. And now he has gone all the way down to this other side of the sort of aisle in terms of his feelings towards them.
I mean, I can't like say he's wrong. I can't really say he's a bad guy in any of this. Like it, you know, his sister let out this monster that killed his dad. Like he's got to be
Yeah.
mortified of this whole entire situation. He's not being a bad guy necessarily. He's just very cold and calculated and wants to get his dad back. And I can understand that. I can understand. But we cut to Keiko and Lee, and they spot that chopper that's flying around the jungle, playing those shrieking noises, and
Mhm.
realize they realize that it's got to be calling Kong to Titan X. So we also find Tim and May out there, and some agent asks like, "Oh, why did Monarch abandon the old base?" We talked about this a little bit in the last
So I've
episode.
I've just done some research for you. I was wrong in the last episode because it isn't Brooks who comes back to the island. It's not Brooks from Skull Island. It's his son, Aaron Brooks. And in the lore, so this is from Gojipedia, Aaron Brooks led a secret disastrous mission to Skull Island on August the 7th, 1995 to study the island against his father's advice. And the line we get about the Monarch base is there was an incident in the 90s. So it is referencing, I think, Brooks's son's mission to the island.
Is there anything about sunscreen in that Wikipedia page? because that's what Tim says. He says "Well, there was a little incident in the 90s where the skull crawlers and with their attraction to the smell of sunscreen. So I laughed about that. Tim's great with the one-liners and everything. So but yeah, hey, we're gonna get called out for the inconsistencies of the names, especially when it comes to Brooks. I feel like we've gotten a few of those already. They're like, oh no, it's the son or whoever. I'm like, I don't even know he has a son. I don't
Yeah.
I don't I don't know. But they do end up coming across Isabel's crew out there, and they say like, "Hold on, let's come up with a little plan here." So they ambush the vehicle, and they take I think there's two vehicles. They take them, and I laughed because one of the guys, which I actually found that the people that were on the Isabel's side, like they actually like didn't feel like just like extras. They felt like real characters. I think you said this in the last episode about some of the Monarch agents. I thought that about these two people. They felt like real people that we could like see again some other
Yeah.
time. They've something about them didn't feel like, hey, they're just a couple of extras that you threw into this scene. They felt like real people that they had
So
like a little bit of backstory and stuff. I
yeah,
appreciated that.
you're so spot on because I tell you what, the so there's one of them, I think they basically said they're like, oh, we're scientists, we're just here to study this, we're not even
Yeah.
part of what she's doing. But the one of them really made me think of the actor from Stranger Things who plays the teacher, the scientist that he plays at the start of King of the Monsters. I just got the
Mm.
same kind of vibe from the character, which I thought was quite cool. But also, more importantly, Brad, okay, very important, can we appreciate our boy has used a gun for the first time? Our boy
Yeah.
Tim is holding them up with a gun. He is like, this is the next Tom Cruise right here.
Tim Cruise. Here we go. But I like that that one guy on the other side said he said he's just an undergrad PhD, and I'm not getting paid enough to take
Yeah.
bullets for Isabel. So maybe he does get paid enough by Monarch, and he becomes that guy in King of the
Yeah.
Monsters. And there you go.
Yeah, but again, like peak nepo baby, not paying your staff enough. Whoa, where would that ever happen in the real world? There's no parallels whatsoever.
Not any. But Keiko and Lee are out there and uh, tells Keiko that there's a lot of her and Kate, so they're very similar in what they do,
Yeah.
just running into danger and stuff like that. And this, I like this moment because they basically play a little bit of catch up on what happened in the past few episodes between the two of them. And I thought that was funny because you don't always get that, like people like saying, "Oh, what happened to you in the past few minutes?" Like, so that was fun. They Keiko tells Lee about how Kate connected with Titan X and that she's sensitive to the sonar and stuff like that. And he meant, they talk about that recording that she made of the sonar, and he's like, "Do you have that recording on you?" And she's like, "Yeah." So and Lee tells her that he spoke to himself in Axis Mundi, and that gets her pretty upset because then she's like, "Wait a second, like, you didn't help me. Like, we didn't help each other
Yeah.
down there. Like, how I was waiting for you." Like, she's like, I'm waiting for you and you didn't help me." And she's upset that like he decided her future for her. She's angry about that. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah, there's the
she
line kind of about him. He has this moment, doesn't he, where he's like, "Oh, that's an awful lot of maybes," where she's
oh,
talking
it was
about what could
that's a
be
lot of
different.
couldas. Because like she
Yes,
said,
yeah,
like,
that's
I
it.
could have had like more time with Hiroshi and like it could have
Yeah.
had all this, I could have had that. That's a whole lot of couldas. And he doesn't seem very sorry about any of this. He kind of just walks
No, but
away.
I think he's
So
really valid because like you can see both perspectives, right? From her perspective, her life could have been very different. She could have had more time with her son, etc. But from his perspective, you also understand that there's no guarantee that she would still be alive if he had brought her out sooner. Like, for all they know, things could have gone wrong a lot sooner. Different stuff would have happened with Monarch. It would be a whole different trajectory to where they
yeah.
are now. Whereas he knows for sure that she's alive and she gets reunited with Hiroshi. So it's interesting that it's one of those scenarios where both characters are right.
hmm Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he maybe he didn't need to just walk away from that scenario and make he could have validated her a little bit more probably, but yeah, they're both absolutely right there. It's like it's a tough situation, and she at least got to see Hiroshi and hang out with the grandchildren a bit, and if he had intervened, like she could have got stepped on by something, and it
Yeah.
would have been the end of it. Who knows? But we go to the old Monarch base, and the team tells Isabel that Titan X is react the reactions are becoming a bit erratic for this creature, and we do find out that Kong is about 6 minutes out. The time's coming down, and I wrote this
Yeah.
down on my second watch because there's an alarm in the background. And that alarm sounds oddly similar to the Orca device. I don't know if you pinpointed that, but I was like, "Oh,
Interesting. I
this
didn't
sounds
notice that.
weirdly the same." Like, so I don't know why.
Mm.
I don't know if that was purposeful or anything. Probably not, because it really doesn't pertain. But like, I found it very similar to the Orca sound. It has a very
It does,
specific sound.
yeah. I mean, throughout season 2 as well, it's felt again like they are building to the Orca. I
Mhm.
feel like the big challenge, because spoilers, they don't appear in this episode. Will be, I don't know why I'm saying spoilers. If you're watching this, you want spoilers for episode 10 anyway. You've seen it,
You've seen it,
but
hopefully.
I do feel like there is now a thing of they need to bring in the Russells. So Emma and the character that's played by, you'll know the actor, Kyle.
Kyle Chandler, yeah.
Yes, I feel like if they really want to keep going down this path, they now have to bring those characters in season 3. Because if they don't, it's kind of like, okay, we're basically doing a parallel story, but we're never touching on the fact that they've already got this technology.
He's got a bunch of movies under his belt, but he's a TV guy, man. Like
Yeah,
Friday Night Lights, that show that I like on Netflix. I'm blanking on the name of it, but
you
it was a
like it so
great show.
much, you know the name.
Well, it was like a show like when all of the streamers started like really doing series and stuff like that. It was way back then.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
that
Stranger
show
Things.
and
Yeah, I've got you.
no, not that one. But like he was in, wasn't he in Super 8? I think he was in Super 8, which is like Stranger Things.
I've not
Um,
seen Super 8.
oh my gosh, dude! Again with another one. But and now he's going to be in the Lanterns show, so he's still going with the TV. But let's get him here. Let's get him here. And the other character is very familiar with television, Stranger Things. So
Yeah.
that works out. But yeah. So Kate is wait, where are we? Is that where we are? No, I don't know. I think I moved my thing. Oh yeah. So Kate finds a vent
So
and she cuts herself on this vent trying to open it. But go ahead.
So I feel like there is an interesting bit of parity here with this whole thing with just going back to Billy and Lee's story for a second, where obviously in the last episode we got that line about them saying that they're literally going to take this secret to the grave. So that in a way kind of feels like foreshadowing, because we know that Billy does take the secret to the grave. We know that he's dead. We've seen the entirety of his arc at this point, and we've seen the conclusion of his story. So it did make me wonder, and we didn't get it in this episode, but for a long period of time this episode, I was really wondering if Shaw was going to die, and if it was going to kind of play out as that prophetic fallacy, where it's like, okay, you've seen Billy die because he said that they're going to. Now Shaw's going to die as well. So I just thought that was interesting. Obviously, it doesn't go in that direction, but there was a moment here where, especially where Keiko gets upset with Shaw, I was kind of sat there thinking, oh, is this going to push him to then sacrifice himself to make things right?
Yeah, I did kind of get a vibe like that too. I mean, this is that section where like Tim and May are out there. They run into Lee and Keiko, and Lee's like, "Hey, where'd you get the trucks?" And he's like, "Well, it was." Tim says it was abandoned at gunpoint, and I was like, "That's hilarious. That's a hilarious comment." But they mentioned that like Isabel is a Simmons. It's a Simmons operation, and Lee makes his connections like Simmons as in Apex, but they don't really correct that. Like they don't say like, no, it's not an Apex thing. It's, but maybe they don't know that. I forget. But where you're getting to is like the part where like they talk about, okay, Keiko's got that recording to attract the Titan to the rift. And Lee's like, all right, I'll take the recording. I'll go get the chopper. Keiko, you go get with the grandkids. It did kind of feel like, hey, you go with the kids. I got this. Like, and then you don't know if he's going to make it back or not. But yeah.
To quote a line from a very good film, take the kids, get them someplace safe.
What movie is that?
Jurassic World. Oh my god. Okay. Right.
Take the kids.
This definitely
get them somewhere
isn't the
safe.
Jurassic Park podcast anymore.
Is that the Pteranodon? Is that the Pteranodon sequence?
Can you? Yes.
Okay.
Can you do that line in Owen accent for me?
That was my best Owen in that moment, because he has it's less Owen and more Chris Pratt. I feel like
he's more like serious and locked in, isn't he?
Yeah.
I was gonna say there's a moment here where Tim freaks out over the recording of the Titans communicating, and I really like how even though you've got like Tim being badass Tim with the pistol, you still get a moment of really goofy Tim as well. Like, let's just be real at this point. Tim is the best thing in this entire show. He is Monarch's best character.
He's he says that line. He's like, "Do you even know what you have here with this thing?" And he's like, "Well, no, of course, obviously you know what you have."
Can we appreciate there's one other? So I like sometimes, because with this show, there's nothing where I sit there and think it's not working. So I don't need to write critiques or anything. But every now and then I just like to write down funny details because they make me laugh. And there's this moment where they're all loaded into the Jeeps. They're going away. The second Jeep has clearly got a fifth seat in the back of it that nobody's sitting in. But for some reason, this Monarch soldier's just standing on the side of it instead, like gripping onto it. And I'm like, they're just putting my dude in a deadly scenario for no reason whatsoever.
That's funny. I didn't take note of that. I love that. But we end up going out to the old Monarch base, and Kate's still stuck out there, and she does a little bit of a science experiment here, lights something on fire, and it's like there's like a rusted bolt on the thing. I don't know what she does. She lights it on fire, and then she's able to turn it. Science, I guess. She enters the vent.
I think it probably oxidizes it, would be my guess.
Yeah, I guess I'm not.
I'm waiting for somebody in the comments to be like, Tom, you don't know anything about science. That's nothing to
I'm
do with
nothing
this
of a
scene.
scientist myself, but yeah. So there's about 1 minute until Kong arrives. They decide to power up Titan X again. Kate kicks in the vent and ends up in some tunnel system, and she escapes out like a hatch right next to Titan X. And the hatch closes right behind her, and she's stuck out there. But Tim and Keiko and May, they arrive at Titan X. Kong arrives at Titan X. May spots Kate down below. She's like, "We got somebody down there," and it's Kate. Keiko is like, "I'm gonna go save Kate." She gets into one of the trucks and goes to try to rescue Kate. Kong and Titan X begin fighting. There's a whole lot. It's like so kinetic here.
Yeah.
Kate's running. They're fighting. Anything there in that sequence of events that stands out to you?
I just have a sentence saying, "Seeing Kong and Titan X squaring off is cool."
Yes,
that's it.
Agreed.
I like that we get more Kong because, like I said earlier in the season, there was a period of time during the season where I was like, "What the hell? You've marketed it as Kong, and we're just getting more Godzilla." But it does feel like this episode then goes, "Okay, here's all of the Kong you've been waiting for."
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's a very good amount. Yeah. So Kintaro's out there. He's wondering. Not out there, I guess he's in the base, but he's wondering what happens if Kong wins. What do we do?
Yeah.
Isabel's like, well, it's a mother defending her baby. Like, it's not gonna happen. So she wants to power up Titan X again. And one of the guys there, he's like, "Hey, we only have another 5%. Like, that's all I can give you." But so the pass that Tim took from that guy works on the base, and I like that he has this little line about like, I guess that's what a PhD gets you. So that worked out for him.
Yeah.
Isabel's crew, they spot the Monarch team entering the base, and Isabel gets like really worried. That's the word I'm looking for. Worried that that if Monarch thinks this is some sort of apex operation, that her dad is going to come in. He's going to blame her and Kintaro, throw them under the bus. And he won't take a single bit of blame and can maybe, like you're saying, take over everything. But Kintaro ensures her, like, "Hey, you talked about this earlier with me with the moon stuff, but like, hey, we've got a plan, and we've got a place here. We're safe. We got this." So Kintaro
is just a loser at this point, man. He's just
he's fully committed.
I don't like you now, Kintaro. You're not a good man.
It's going to be interesting.
As if this fictional character can hear me saying this in this moment, and it's somehow going to change how he's written in season 3.
Kintaro hits the blast button and blasts Titan X. But inside the base, walking around the Monarch crew, is they come across a guy, and Tim, dude, he squares up, man.
Yes,
he squares up.
I literally, I have in capital letters at this point. F word, ing, love this dude.
He has this line that he was a backup punter on his high school football team, and I died because, like, that's not. He would get no action at all as his backup punter. Not for tackling some guy. I found that funny, but he's directing things. He's ordering things. He's being like the leader in that moment. But he gets into the elevator and he's like, that really hurt.
Yeah.
So he's still Tim. He's still Tim at heart. So it's great. It's great. But
dude, just hats off to Joe Tippett. He brings the comedic relief every time.
Yeah, he is fantastic. Kate wakes up underneath Titan X and Kong, I think, at this point. The scale is awesome. Like, it looks so good.
Yes.
And, there's some points where, like, you can tell, like, it's like, she's just on, like, a CG background kind of thing. But, like, I think overall it looks really good. And like, the scale is just massive.
For the fact that it's television as well, like, I feel like there's moments in the films where you can tell that it's CG.
Oh, yeah.
So the fact that it sort of feels consistent with that on a television budget is crazy.
It is, yeah. And I give it a little slack because of that, because it is television and all that. Like, after watching Godzilla X Kong, a lot of that movie takes place in the Hollow Earth, which is very much like Skull Island. But like in the Hollow Earth, there's no for the most part, there's really no humans and like earthly objects to reference the scale of these creatures. So at the end of the day, they end up just looking like an ape and like some lizards just running around in the jungle. You don't really get that scale. So we're getting that scale here. You're looking up, you're seeing how massive this battle is, and it's immense and it's awesome. So I loved seeing that. And Keiko bursts through all of that long grass that Universal planted for Rebirth at this moment with the Jeep. She bursts right through it. And then Tim's bursting into the command center and requests that they shut it all down. And at this point, like a Monarch agent finds Isabel and Kentaro, and she's like, she's just like playing dumb for a second, but then she just decks him, knocks him out.
She just takes him the hell out. It's pretty bonkers.
Yeah. She's like Black Widow at that point. She just kind of takes him out real quick. And back in the command center,
Kentaro plays well, clearly.
Yeah, he's just like, huh? What's happening? Oh, but May cannot get this synaptic link. Wasn't it? I know, I practiced it. May can't get the synaptic link to shut down. They need to unplug Titan X, but then Keiko's going. So there's so much. I know I'm jumping all around, but this is so kinetic. Everything's cutting back and forth. But like Keiko's almost crashing into Titan X. And this is you talked about critiques before. Like you don't really write out critiques or anything because you don't have too much. I have a critique here because I didn't like this sequence very much. Keiko is driving around Titan X and Kong, and the directing here is incredibly confusing. Let me get a prop.
Yeah. Oh my god!
This actually works really well.
Brad Joyce recreation.
This actually works really well. Okay, so imagine Keiko's in here. I have him already, but he doesn't fit. So Keiko's in here. She's driving, and she's driving this way, right? She's going left.
Yeah.
But then like the shot changes, and it changes to her driving this way. And then like shot changes, and now she's driving this way, and the shot changes, she's going this way again, and this way. The directing was incredibly confusing here, and you know, if you got to be consistent with your shots. Like if you're driving this way, make sure that the camera change is focused in a way that continues to make you look like you're driving that way. Otherwise, I have no clue where you're going. I have no clue what's happening. It felt very messy. So if anybody's rewatching this, like take a look at that part. It's very confusing for me. I feel like it's like a film 101 kind of thing that you have to keep the camera angles consistent. You can't change it up like that. So I don't know what was happening there, but maybe they wanted it chaotic. I don't know.
There is the 180 degree rule that you are generally meant to follow, and it's more so designed for things like if you've got a set that's a facade. So the idea might be that you've got the background of the location and you've got your walls on either side, then you should only do 180 because it won't then show the boundaries of that and break the immersion. But I think it's applicable to stuff like this as well, where if you only show the 180, it keeps the coherence of the way that the vehicle's moving.
Yeah. So I that's one of my only real complaints with this series was like that was like very confusing to me, but it didn't matter. It wasn't like it mattered. I was just like, whoa, where are we go? What's that? Whoa, hey, whoa, because there's 50,000 cuts I think in this.
You were just like, wait, are there two cars?
Yeah, I did not know what was happening.
Oh my god, Hammond sent two cars? No way.
How you sent two cars? But this she ends up getting out of this car at one point, and then Kong steps on the Jeep, and then at some point Kate and Keiko, they're running to like this open garage door thing, and when it's opened, you can see that the egg is right there, and Titan X senses it. It goes over there, it grabs it. Kong, just like we've been talking about, sees what's happening.
Before we get here, this is a very cool moment. But before we get here, there is a line of dialogue where it says that a mother's instinct had caused the control sectors to get overloaded in the synaptics. And that's what then lets Titan X get control again. So I really like that again, overarching, we've spoken about this in previous episodes, but it is the maternal nature of this creature and the fact that it is behaving in a way that is fundamentally animalistic and not monster-like that causes the situation to de-escalate. And I just think, again, that's such a cool way of navigating that these titans aren't monsters, they're creatures too.
Yeah, and Kong senses that. Like, he sees what's happening.
Yes.
And he holds off fighting. He's not going to fight anymore.
Dude, his facial expressions in that moment as well, like, it blows my mind how incredibly well they are able to communicate emotions with the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted,
absolutely.
somebody like Kong, he's a primate, so it's not a million miles away from a human in terms of how they move their body, use their eyes, etc. But I do think you get a real sense in his movements of, he's realizing that this is what's happened here.
He was a very angry dude and then quickly became a chill dude, like a chill guy, okay?
It was a chill guy, yeah. It was like you, when your lunch arrived in the break of these podcasts, you were then immediately a chill dude.
I was immediately a chill dude, running for my life and then chill. But Titan X crawls away, and I was just saying this. May says that she unplugged herself after sensing the egg, and then the chopper arrives with Lee piloting it.
Yes,
everybody runs for that chopper, but Kate's like, no.
So there's
gotta
one
go find
moment
my traitor brother
that I made a note of here, which is that even in this situation, with Kong being chill about the fact that it's going, like, this is Titan X looking after his child, I do think he would have freaked out at the helicopter. Because everything we've seen of Kong up until this point, whenever he sees a helicopter, he's like, I am taking that thing down. That is his whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree with that. But maybe Kate's the X factor here, like, since she's around, but like, and we'll get to that in a second even more, but like, she's something else. So maybe he's sensing that, like, because I think Kong is smart, right? He's a smart guy. I don't have music for that, but he's a smart guy, and he understands the situation. I think when he sees the people in Skull Island coming to that island, he's like, nah, ain't nobody here. Not even that Bill Randa guy. Like, I don't want him anywhere near my island. He's just gonna keep throwing things in this tube. But I think he understands maybe. But at this point, she's like, I'm gonna go find Kentaro, and Kentaro was about to board the other chopper that we talked about in the last episode, and I think he says something like about, like, we saw a version of him die, like, about their dad. And I thought that was pretty cool, because there may be multiple versions all at the same time. I actually I do have to edit something, I think, but
yeah. I was literally about to say, so I feel like we've spoke about this in a previous episode, but you listeners won't have heard this. But at this point, it is revealed that Hiroshi, it might already be out there. At this point, it is revealed that Hiroshi has been in the Axis Mundi before. So this is an interesting observation, because obviously with our perception of time earlier this season, we know that whilst old Shaw is out and about and active, young Shaw is still in the Axis Mundi simultaneously. There's this whole time dilation thing. So it is conceivable that they could pull Hiroshi out, but what would that mean for the timeline? Would it be disastrous? Would it cause things to rupture? There's a lot of questions about the potential ramifications.
It sounds heavy, dude. Sounds heavy.
Yeah.
That's a Back to the Future reference for you.
I totally got that.
Yeah,
16 gigawatts!
16? It's 1.21.
Oh, that's what I said, brother.
Oh, okay.
Wait, if we could just cut, so we'll cut.
Say it again.
1.21 gigawatts.
It's gigawatts. Get it right. Say it again. Go. Anyway, moving on. You talked about this sequence here, but he mentions that he went missing right after G-Day in 2014, and that he was trying to get them back like to safety, trying to keep them safe. So there's a version of him out there trying to keep them safe in some way. It wasn't very explanatory as far as like how is he trying to keep them safe. I guess like I don't know, maybe he's trying to go back in time and stop things. I have no idea what he was trying to do. But Kate thinks, okay, maybe it's possible, like, you know, or it's impossible, but like Kentaro is like, hey, no, so was saving you, and we did it, you know, until we did it.
Yeah.
So I found that there's an interesting parallel here between the families, this family dynamic, Axis Mundi, Skull Island, all this abandonment, saving people.
Yeah.
You know, it's all cyclical here. This is what Bill did. He abandoned Hiroshi to save Keiko in the Axis Mundi, and now, you know, they're talking about abandonment for that year or whatever, but it wasn't that. It was he was trying to keep people safe. So it's like just in their family nature to do this and to be not great people to do this and to, you know, to have these relationship issues and stuff. So it's just all full circle for all of these people, you know?
Yeah, it's such a good point, and I'm gonna ask you a question then. So obviously the Kentaro and Isabel splitting off from Kate and the others is a clear setup for the third season, and we do get a little bit more of a hint at that later on, which we'll talk about when we get there. But I do wonder, with what you're saying about it being secular, or cyclical even, could you see a third season paralleling like the whole journey of Bill to get Keiko back then, where Kentaro goes on that journey and ultimately dies, but gets Hiroshi back?
I could definitely see that. Yeah, I could definitely see that. And, you know, that would be a moment of like, I know I messed up, but like, hey, at least you'll have Dad back, you know, or something like that. You know?
It'd basically be the equivalent of that video log, wouldn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly. Oh God, here we go. It was just full circle again. But like you said, Kentaro leaves with Isabel in that chopper and disappears. And then we cut to the Monarch crew. They all leave in the big chopper to get to Titan X and get back to that rift. And they play the tape. It's not hearing them, so they crank it louder. And then it does notice, but they blew all the amps in the speakers, and it doesn't work anymore. So I wrote a note here that Titan X looks so dang cool following behind them. Like it looks, just the visuals, cool. It looks so darn cool back there. But
do you know what I am going to say to you though? When we're talking about this helicopter with the speakers, the thing I can't get out of my head is what would that have been like if it was Trapper flying the helicopter, and what kind of music would have been playing as it follows them?
Something great. He had really good taste. So I was listening to that music yesterday. I was like, dude, this guy, I'm going to go create a Spotify playlist, figure this out, because it was great. And, you know, it was funny. The other day, we were driving in the car, and I was, like, trying to find something to put on, and my son was like, hey, can we listen to Godzilla music? And I'm like, what do you mean? So I put on the, like, the Serge Tankian, like, you know, Godzilla from King of the Monsters. And, like, he's like, that's not what he wanted. He wanted something from, like, I think the last two movies. He may have said, like, Godzilla X Kong or something, because he had. So it turns out, I don't know if I mentioned it here. I mentioned it to you. There was a few episodes ago where I was like, I'm pretty sure I hear Godzilla. He was watching Godzilla X Kong in the next room. And then when I came out there, I was like, oh man, I wanted to watch this. I didn't get a chance to watch it. So I watched it a different time. But so in that movie, there's just so many great tracks. So now I'll have to put that playlist together if it doesn't exist already, so we can listen to that in the car, because there's some great stuff in there. But I don't want a playlist of Titan X screams and things. I don't need that. No. But since that didn't work, they end up bringing the chopper in closer to Titan X so that it can see Kate, because they're thinking, okay, maybe there's some connection here that we can get it to work. And they bring it in closer. They try to tell her to be careful. And then it starts to follow them again. And they start to head for the rift. So I laughed because, like, Lee gets so far ahead of them, ahead of the Titan. And I'm like, weren't you supposed to be, like, letting this follow you? I guess it's got good vision. I don't know, but, like, I just found it funny that Lee's just like, nah, I'm going straight to the
Yeah.
rift, and then they end up landing down there at the rift, but it's not open yet, and they like explain that they need the Titan to open it. Um, Titan X approaches, and I was like, dude, you guys are awfully close and very trusting
Yeah.
of this scenario that like they need the Titan to open
Yeah.
this rift. But the rift opens. It works.
Can you
It
imagine if they
works.
just all got Dr. Grahams?
Dude, yeah. So it came close because Kate puts out her hand. She's like Owen Grady here. She's like, putting out her hand,
Yeah.
and as does Titan X, puts out a tentacle to
Dude, that
touch.
moment makes me tear up. It just shows how intelligent Titan X is. Like, I love that. It's such a great way to convey it. And I think it works here, whereas it doesn't work in something like Jurassic, because Jurassic, it's not a fantastical creature, right? It is an actual animal. So we kind of have fairly good scientific understanding of their levels of intelligence and empathy. Whereas here, this is something that's fictional, so you don't know how intelligent and empathetic it is. So therefore, something like that works a lot more.
I was going back honestly, like to all the origins of Kong and stuff like that in the old films
Yeah.
and things, and Kong was always very close with humans and things, and like
Yes.
it's
Well, in
always
the
been a
in
part of the storytelling.
it's Anne, isn't it? That
Yeah.
he has Anne in his hand a lot of the time. Because I
Mhm.
remember as a kid, I had the Playmates Skull Island playset that they did, and as
Mm.
part of that, you got the This is just a really random tangent, but as part of that, if you remember the sequence where Anne's like lowered on the bridge to be given to him, you like got that bridge that you can lower to the figure, and there's a little platform on the bridge that you put a little Anne figure on, and then you can take the figure off and put it into Kong's hand.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like it's just this ongoing history of Kong being cool with it, and then like in later movies and stuff, there's always bits of like the MonsterVerse that have been
Yeah.
kind of cool with with humans and stuff like that. There's
Well, especially with
the
Gia in the
son of
later ones as
Godzilla and
well,
stuff
right?
like that. What's
Yeah.
that?
And I was saying, especially with Gia in the later MonsterVerse films as
Gia.
well, her relationship
Mhm.
with the animals. Yeah.
Like Kong literally understands sign language at some point and like can
Yeah.
talk to Gia, and we're cool with that. That's what we're all good. And there's this deeper relationship. You've talked about the twins that had that, connection with what's her name?
Mothra. Yeah.
Mothra, yeah. And so there is something here. There is a connection here, and I buy it. And it did make me think about Jurassic World. And I do buy, Owen, doing the thing with Blue there. It makes sense to me as a pet. But this works really, really well. So I have no problem with
Yeah.
this at all. I'm sure some people probably will, but I have no issue with that at all. But Titan
Can
X,
I
okay,
Can I touch on this? Maybe jumping ahead a little bit, so you might pull it back afterwards. But I just want to touch on a beautiful moment that we get here, which calls back to my favorite episode, episode 7. So I loved episode 7
Yeah.
because of the parallels with the Shores, and obviously getting Kurt and Wyatt Russell acting parallel to each other. And when Titan X goes through the portal and into Axis Mundi, the kind of light shards are lingering for a bit,
Mhm.
and you get young Shaw just appearing and kind of looking through, seeing older Keiko, seeing older Shaw, knowing everything's going to be okay. And I thought that was a really nice moment, because obviously earlier I said to you that I kind of wondered if they were going to bring Shaw's story to a close as well as Bill's. And I sort of feel like this is a natural closing point for his story in terms of tying all the loops together. Obviously, as we'll talk about in a bit, there is then more for sure, which is going in a completely different direction. But I feel like this is a nice way of kind of wrapping up his arc this season and pulling it all together. The one thing I will touch on, though, is we did have a bit of back and forth of when the hell did he actually get the time to do this? But that aside, I think it's a really nice moment.
Yeah, I liked before, like once the Titan left, Lee says like welcome to the family business. He says it to Kate and stuff, and
Yes.
so
Yeah.
I thought that was great. And yeah, the seeing his younger self, that was just such a great moment. And I had those same thoughts of like, well, first off, he's mouthing something, and Keiko's there. Like Keiko comes up and sees him, that is so emotional, like right there alone. And then
Yeah.
the fact that she's breaking down because she can't hear him. She's like, "But I can't hear you. What are you saying?" And old Lee steps in and he's like, I was saying goodbye. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay. Like, it's okay." And that made me think, like, kind of like you were saying, is this our goodbye to younger Lee, or even the younger versions of any of these characters? Bill. I
Yeah.
guess not Keiko because she's in the current timeline. But is this our goodbye in this main series? I would venture to say yes. I feel like that is it
Yeah.
feels like a very concrete, like, done. We're done seeing them in this series. And honestly, we'll talk about it later, but I have more thoughts on that. But I would be okay
I
with that, I
think you're
think.
right. Yeah. I think, yeah. Yeah, because actually, now you've said that, I can see a world where Lee isn't a prominent character, but maybe he is just like name dropped as, oh, we got information from Colonel Shaw about X, Y, or Z in the future, which could then still tie him into things without him needing to be present in the same way.
Mhm.
Talking about name drops and references and things, can we appreciate that when we then go forward to the next part of this, which takes us to Monarch headquarters, we got something that made me very happy because it felt like
Yeah.
a callback to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So we get here the Monarch Memorial Wall that we see when they go to the headquarters. And the thing that always stuck with me in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1 is when they go to the academy in S.H.I.E.L.D., there's a moment where they're like, here's the S.H.I.E.L.D. memorial wall of all of the agents who have been lost in service. So I just thought that was a really cool thing. It's a real life thing. Like the CIA at Langley, for example, I think has a memorial wall like this. So it is
Mhm.
an interesting thing. But I was just sat there like, Monarch and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is now connected.
Yeah, no, I love this moment because they start off by looking at like the plaque for Hiroshi, and
Yeah,
it says in honor of those who lived by our mission, discovery, and defend. And
yeah,
Kate gives Keiko a hug in that moment, and Barris is there, and he's like, "Hey, you see that first plaque over there in the corner, at the top?
yeah,
That was yours, Keiko. Like that was your plaque. You were the first one."
yeah,
And he's basically he's leaving it up there to kind of stop any ongoing like questions about Keiko returning from the dead. And he's like,
yeah.
imagine if other people knew that like you came back from the dead. We'd have like time machine issues or fountain of youth
Yeah, he
questions.
has a
Like, so
line
there's a lot
about
of
people
questions.
wanting to manipulate it, doesn't he? Which is quite
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So he ends up bringing them inside and shows Kate and Keiko to an
Yeah.
office that has Tim and May inside. And they do mention,
But
hey,
Brad, you're about to say what I was going to say. I was going to say before they go to the office, they get a line that is, Colonel Shaw's gone dark and disappeared.
I wasn't going to say that. So thank you.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say this is Monarch 2.0. It's back to basics like the
Yes.
founders intended. It gives a good explanation, I think, for the future.
Yeah.
And Barris basically says, like, I would like for you two to run the basement.
Yeah.
And their
I love
assignment
the
is
way he
find
says it.
Kintaro.
Because you kind of said a bit of it there, but the exact quote is he says, plausibly deniable, back to basics, science and discovery. So this is kind of you meant to be like, okay, we've seen the rubbish version of Monarch that isn't what Keiko envisioned it being, and now we're going to see Monarch how it should be, which again kind of gels with Godzilla, right? Because in Godzilla, before you get to King of the Monsters, you kind of get the sense that Serizawa and Graham are very much on their own, and it's them and the military, but there isn't anybody else from Monarch really helping them. So I like how this now feels like the reset to then lead into the Monarch that we see in King of the Monsters.
Do you think so? I'm kind of wondering if it's the opposite, to be honest, because the
Oh,
Monarch that we
interesting.
get. So I think that like them splitting them off is their way of saying this is why you don't see them in the future, is because we put
Yeah,
them in a basement.
possibly.
They're doing
Possibly.
Monarch 2.0. This is Monarch 1.0 that goes down the path of working with the military, stuff like that, that
Yeah.
Keiko would certainly not agree to, and
Do you know, I
so
don't think so. I don't think so. I think this is Monarch becoming something different because if
hmm,
even like think about their collaboration with the military, right? Like Castle Bravo is a collaboration with the military, and that facility is, they literally say in the film, it's there to monitor and track Godzilla. They're not trying to kill him or anything. So I
Sure.
think it is. I think it is kind of the birth of, oh, okay, this is a monarch that's going to do things a bit more seriously. Although then again, to be fair, I say that we didn't get Monarch like that in Godzilla, but actually the Janjira facility, as this here says, is entirely Monarch in that first film. So,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
it's open to interpretation.
Yeah, I guess it could be for sure. I could see them maybe going down that route, and at least they have Monarch 2.0, so they can say, okay, this version of Monarch isn't working that we've been setting up. Like, and I could see this being a setup for like Supernova in some way. Like, there's some
Yeah.
other version of the company out there or something
Wow.
else.
Yeah.
So
Let's just say there's, without spoiling anything, there's some interesting set photos with Matthew
yeah,
Modine.
yeah. So I think
Wait,
that's
Brad, what if, right? Matthew
yeah.
Modine
Mhm.
is the older version of Tim.
Oh God, no. No, he's the guy from Stranger Things. He just disappears and goes over here. I think that's what's happening for me.
What, Dr. Brenner?
But yeah, Dr. Brenner. The episode's not over yet because we
No.
cut to Thailand. And dude, this part of the show, this felt like a film. Like this,
Yeah.
not that the other stuff didn't, but something about this section felt
Oh, let's just say they
way
knew they needed to
even
nail
better.
a couple of shots, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, so we find out that they're in Thailand, and Lee Shaw is out there on a riverboat in the jungle. He gets off on some dock, and he gives away his gun to somebody, and he's meeting with somebody, gives him cash, and there's this guy there. He kind of looks like he would be like the head of like a gang or something like that, a head of a crew or something. You don't really know, and I think his name is Ahwood, and he says something like, "Hey, we're a long way away from even," and Lee shows him something, and Ahwood says like, two people that sound exactly like Kentaro and Isabel visited here. And it sounds like they're willing to risk burning everything down to get what Lee has. So interesting sequence here.
Wait,
And
interesting. I didn't get that it was what Lee has. I got that it was to get what they want.
okay, well because maybe I think it's like the information or something like that. That's what I was gathering at least.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
But this guy leads him into the jungle and says like, all right, that's it. This is as far as we go. And Lee's like, hey, is it that bad? Like, what's up? And the guy shows him his arms are all burnt, like, and kind of burnt up but healed. And I didn't even dawn on me at this point. I'm like, ooh, ouch.
It
Yuck.
didn't dawn on me
That's
either.
crazy.
I was just like, oh, what are we seeing here?
So Lee's like, all right, I'm going on my own. So he starts cutting through the jungle. We see a pan up and there's smoke in the distance. Lee's climbing up some ridge. And then, dude, we get a volcano. Rodan is there. And I'm like, and Lee, he says, I'll see you soon. And end of the season, I'm freaking out. That was incredible. What an incredible ending. I really feel like that was like its own little film. It was so good.
Yeah, it's so insane. And I don't think it's the same volcano where Rodan is contained in King of the Monsters.
I wouldn't think
it's
so.
But it's interesting because this implies that this is before that outpost has been built to contain him. So that gets me really excited for future seasons, because are we going to start to see like how Monarch caught Rodan and contained him? Maybe some of the other Titans from King of the Monsters that are more background characters. How did they contain them and put them to sleep? All of that kind of thing. And do you know what I wonder, actually? Controversial conspiracy theory here. I wonder if the future of this show, all of the stuff that they've been doing with synaptics and brainwaves, I wonder if we're eventually going to see that is how Monarch kept Titans asleep in the outposts.
Yeah, that would be
That would be
interesting
quite
for
cool.
sure. I was trying to look up. I forget where it was. I feel like it was like Mexico or something like that.
Yeah,
Where
I think
Rodan
so.
was. I don't remember the exact spot, but it felt different than this area at least. But dude, I love this sequence, and am I crazy for wanting like a prequel film out of Kurt Russell trying to like kill
Not
Rodan or
at
like
all.
stop him on his own? Like I feel like they could totally just do a one-off prequel movie, not a TV show or anything.
Mhm.
Like I think you could take Kurt Russell away from the series. I would hate that because he's great in the series. But if you're not like in my mind, if you're not going to do the young old actor anymore, give him his own
Mhm.
prequel film. Have him tracking down this monster and trying to battle one man against this monster. Like it sounds crazy,
Yeah.
but like I would love to see that end up in such a cool way. I don't know. Maybe get
There,
him
so
going back with
there's
Monarch
some
from the films, like something like that. We see how they capture him and all that. What are you on? You're doing something over there. I know you're.
there's
y-
some really well. It's interesting. So I think they might end up retroactively rewriting some of the kind of lore from like their Monarch Sciences website and stuff like that, which
Uh-huh.
completely understandable because I think it's the same with Jurassic, right? Like marketing material is canon until it's not at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think that with this, it's interesting because I've just looked up the background on Rodan, and in Monsterverse, Rodan was originally discovered in 1991 by Monarch inside a volcano at Isla de Mara, Mexico. So
Mhm.
that's Outpost 56.
Yeah.
Um, and it was already inside the volcano at that point. So
Mhm.
what is it doing out of it? What's happened here? Like, how are we going to explain this? It's all very interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't wait to
Is
find
there a
out,
hollow
dude.
earth portal inside the volcano that lets Rodan erupt from different volcanoes?
Dude, there has to be. Like there has to be, right? Oh my god. Yeah, that would be incredible. So I hope they have something planned that's even bigger than just a season 3 for him in this story. I doubt it, but like dude, that would be such a killer film if they were able
I'd
to figure
kill
something
for,
out,
yeah, I would
you know?
adore a Rodan film. I do just want to send you, I'm just going to grab, don't worry about pulling it on screen because it will be a challenge for you to do it live. But I've just sent you on Messenger a screenshot from that very end scene. Can we appreciate that literally feels like King of the Monsters? It
Oh,
literally feels like
100%.
the scene where you see him on the volcano. Same level of visual fidelity, same effects for the flames on the wings. All of that, like the
Yeah.
CGI on Rodan is film quality in the TV show,
Yeah.
which is insane.
Film quality incredible. It's so darn good. And I couldn't believe it. I was like I don't know what I was expecting in that moment, but when I saw the smoke, I was like, oh, I know what we're doing. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I can't believe this is happening. So I hope that happens. So, end of season, man. What do you think? Like, what's your overall
Yeah.
thoughts and feelings? How do you
I
feel like
thought
this
it was
ties into
fantastic.
things? Yeah, where do you think it's
I,
going? Like any of that stuff? Or
yeah. So I think it was a lot stronger than season one because I think it felt like it tied in
Mhm.
a bit more. I think overall it does feel like it's being a bit revisionist to some stuff. Like I feel like there's some things that don't quite connect neatly, but the quality of the writing of the show is so good that I'm fine with that. I'm like, do you know what? Do what you need to do. I'm not really bothered if you give us a cool story, and I really feel like that's what they've done with this season. I think it's very much focused on the humans and how they behave with the animals as opposed to anything
Mhm.
else, which I really like. What I'm kind of hoping for going forward is that we get to see even more from different titans now. So obviously we've seen Rodan. I'm just looking at some of the current Monsterverse toys that are available. Seeing more of Scylla would be cool. So that's the kind of like big crab-like six-legged creature. Equally, there's another one that I want to see, which I just want to double check the name of if I can find it on my Google search. Bear with, please. Of course, it's not coming
What's it
up
going to
straight at
be?
the top.
I
I
don't know.
think. No, I was close. Tiamat. I'd love to see
Oh,
more of
Tiamat.
Tiamat. So that's the Yeah,
That would
the
be great.
Titan
Yeah.
that Godzilla kills to get its power charged
Hmm.
up. Just actually seeing more of that Titan before it died would be cool as well. Or I'm really at that point now where I'm sort of like, okay, you've done some really great stuff to give us the foundations for these characters. Now let's take us into the okay, we're dealing with the Titans. This is a growing, emerging threat. How do we get to where we are in King of the Monsters? I kind of feel
Yeah.
like, as happy as I was with this season, if it continues the slow build, it's going to run the risk of feeling really tonally inconsistent with King of the Monsters. So that's what I
Hmm.
think they need to focus on now is okay, how do we get to that sense of scale in King of the Monsters? What are the steps we take from this endpoint to get there? And how does it happen in the space of time that it does? And I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's so many stories you could tell in that period of time.
Yeah, so it makes me wonder, like, this is leading all to King of the Monsters, and I think, there was a lot of conversation we had at the early start of this was like, "Oh, we
Mm.
really feel like we're leading to the Orca and stuff like that," and it didn't really. I can't say that it got us closer to the Monarch we necessarily see in King of the Monsters or anything like that. It didn't get
No.
us closer to the Orca or anything, but like I'm wondering, okay, so now let's say this is 2017, right? I think
Mm.
there's a year until the next movie, right? So it's 2018 is when King of the Monsters came out, right? Or was it 2019? I
Well,
forget. Maybe
I
it was
think it's
2019. It might have been
2019.
19. Um,
Let me double check. Yeah, it takes place in 2019.
2019. Okay, so I guess you could still do another story before King of the Monsters. That feels like it's pushing it, like you're
Yeah.
saying, a little bit too much. Like we could jump ahead.
Well, so there's something really interesting in all of this, which is I wish I'd written down who had posted it. So if this was you, thank you for this. But there was like a really interesting thread on Twitter where somebody was talking about the fact that apparently Apex were part of the creation of the Argo and some of the other technology that Monarch has. Like Apex were
Mm,
involved in it. So obviously we're kind of like at this point where these two organizations are at loggerheads, but at some point they need to work together to build those things. So I think it
hmm.
would be interesting in terms of seeing how we get to that point.
Yeah, I would definitely be down for, more stories connecting up to King of the Monsters, but like it definitely feels like story-wise, okay, we're just leaving ourselves in the
Yeah.
dust here. Like we're getting so far behind where we are right now. I mean, they've been good about like connecting those dots, and I think even in like Godzilla X Kong, like there's like random portals all over the place. Like they've got that portal out in the
Mm.
water that like Kong just barrels through, and they didn't realize he was going to be there until he's there, and he's got his bum tooth.
But
So like,
interestingly, Monarch know about that portal, don't they?
oh,
Because
they
they
know
have the
about the
facility
portal,
kind of
yeah,
built around it.
yeah,
Yeah.
but like they don't. As far as I could tell, there's not a facility around the one that's outside of the pyramids. It's just
No,
there's a
there's not.
rift right next to the pyramids, and so
Yeah.
like it to me that's tying into. I know it's Axis Mundi in this show, but like I feel like that ties in where the Titans can open up this
Mhm.
rift in the middle of, uh, Egypt and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on there if they were
Yeah.
kind of signaling, okay, that's why you're seeing that in the movies, but it always feels like there's something like connected in some way. The apex stuff, trying to get to that later stage when we're not even there yet. We're not even
Yeah.
at the apex thing cuz apex, so I think as far as the films are concerned, they didn't really show up until Godzilla
It
versus
didn't show up
Kong.
until
So,
GVK. No,
yeah,
I
so
looked it up, and apparently it's hinted that Apex provided technology and funding to Monarch,
mhm,
and that helped with some of what we see in King of the Monsters. So that kind of makes sense. And basically, they
sure.
gave Monarch funding in exchange for data on the Titans. So that kind of tallies up with what we've seen already. I think
Yeah.
the interesting thing to me, and kind of a question mark that you've put forward before that I think might be spot on now, is actually how does this all tie into Supernova? Because obviously that's the direction we're heading in. I don't. I mean, I can see a world where the TV show doesn't have to connect at all because it's set at a different point in the timeline, and I don't
Mhm,
think that would be a bad thing if they went that route. But there is something around something that you've said before, which is if there's constantly all of these different portals and they're more and more opening in more and more places, does that lead to the planet becoming more unstable? Does it cause problems where things are hitting that critical mass point, that supernova, if you like? And what does that then lead to? I do think that could potentially factor into the story. But obviously, at the same time, everything we know from that story so far, from what we've heard reported, is that we're getting Space Godzilla, which feels like, again, a very different direction to where we are with this show, I suppose.
Yeah, there was a comment. Was it? Oh no, you know what? It was in Skull Island. There was like I think when he went to go meet with that senator, maybe, or something. Somebody said
I know
something about like
references.
aliens, and he's like, "Oh no, not those guys. Those guys are nuts," or something like that. So it's out there, and obviously with the Ghidorah stuff and everything. But yeah, I don't know how it could tie in, but like something minimal, I could see them kind of tying in. Like organization or. The way things travel or something like that. There's honestly, maybe like the next season is finding out like, what is Access Mundi? Like, what are we dealing with? Where is this? Like, is it in the Earth? Is it somewhere else? Like, is it on a different plane of existence? Like, what are we talking about here? And another idea I had was when we were talking about like, oh, is this the end of the younger versions of these characters? What if we get Simmons in this show and we get the younger version of like him and his story, and like how did he become involved in this, and because I would assume that we're going to still focus on Isabel and Kentaro and like where they are, and then at that point Apex is going to know, like Monarch's going to tell them what's going on, and he's going to want to do exactly what Isabel said. So I imagine like we could get some backstory there. I don't know if we'll get any of those the other sister or the
I'm about
son,
to say
right?
something to you. I'm about to say something to you that
Not
will
Suzuki.
upset you.
What's his name?
No, Serizawa. And that's exactly what I'm about to say to you, is why couldn't the show do a younger version of Serizawa and how he started with Monarch? I'm just, and then actually it would make sense because we talk about it being cyclical, but is the reason why his son went to work for Apex because he treated him in a similar way to the way that Hiroshi treated his family?
It does feel like they're using like some of these characters as like analogs for like the characters we see in the films, but like naming them different and all that stuff. So I wonder, like, I really like, I know there's issues, but you have Kurt Russell. You've got Kurt Russell. You've got Wyatt Russell. Yeah. He's going to be in Doomsday. And Kurt Russell's one of the biggest actors on the planet. Like, you can get Kyle Chandler. You can get Serizawa. You can get these people like to show up. So
it is bonkers to me that we live in an era where massive Hollywood stars will now appear in television. I know I've said this on a previous episode, but like 10 years ago, you would never imagine Kurt Russell doing something episodic. It's insane.
No. Harrison Ford, like him being on 2 shows.
Yeah.
Shrinking in 1923 or whatever it is. Like, and he's incredible in Shrinking. Like, he's so darn good. I can't believe that's like something I'm watching. I'm watching Harrison Ford on a weekly basis. It's wild. So yeah, hopefully we get more people like that are willing to cross over and become a part of this. That's all I can hope for.
We want Trapper. That's all we're campaigning for. We want Trapper in the next season of Monarch.
Does Dan Stevens do television? I don't know, because we could make that happen.
He should make an exception. He should make an exception.
So tell me, is he? Because I really don't know a ton about Supernova. Is he going to continue on or no? Who's continuing?
Well, this is the thing, Brad. Is right now. I've just Googled it. I thought it was entirely resetting, but it's not. We have got him back. He's confirmed to be returning as Trapper.
Trapper's back? Oh, thank God. Okay, so is he the one guy, or is there more? Because they always do like 2 or 3 characters, crossing over from movie to movie.
We're going to do a quick IMDb check. So let's take a look.
But they never really go more than 2 movies.
Interesting. No, they don't. So we have got Dan Stevens is back. It looks like he's the only one who's back, but there are some interesting cast in this film. We've got Jack O'Connell, who was
Ooh, yeah.
absolutely insane in 28 Years Later. We've got Sam Neill,
Sinners.
which is very exciting.
Sam Neill, did you just say to me?
Yeah, Sam Neill's in it. Yeah.
Oh, I probably knew that. I just
I
forgot.
did know that. Have I not
Yeah.
mentioned that to you before?
No, I think I knew that. It just completely left my brain.
We from our favourite Walking Dead spin-off, Fear the Walking Dead, we've got Alicia Debnam Carey. Which is interesting.
I love Alicia.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
And then the other name I recognise is obviously Matthew Modine.
Yeah. Okay, dude, I'm excited to get to see what this movie's going to be like. I hope it's a little bit more grounded. And me and you were talking, I think, offline about what, because I like the last two movies, but I do have a little bit of issue with them that they don't feel exactly the same. Obviously, it's a lot of that bombast that it's just cities being ruined and massive monsters and stuff. But I think what's lacking for me is Monarch. Monarch, for the first two movies was at least it felt like a real grounded organization that you learned a little bit about. You were around them through these scenarios, people really trying to figure out scenarios, working hard together. And then with Godzilla X Kong and Godzilla versus Kong, it felt like we more so focused on just a couple of people that had ties to Monarch.
The Scottish Monarch security guy with the shotgun who gets killed in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that guy, he just freaked out, dude. He's like, and then he died instantly. But we focus on just a couple of people, but not how Monarch works as an organization. And I really want to see that again. So I really hope we get to that. Obviously, there's a lot of Monarch stuff. There's facilities and vehicles and things, and Apex has got all these vehicles and things. But I just want to see how does the organization operate these or handle these tasks, on a greater level. I want to see something like the Outpost 18. I want to see an outpost that we're functioning out of, not just a couple of people going on a solo mission where you don't actually see the connective tissue. You want it to feel cohesive. Yeah, so I think that would make it
the
better.
Argo back, to be fair. I feel like getting the Argo back as a mobile headquarters would be so cool.
Caitlin Deaver's in this movie as well, so she's that's cool. Delroy Lindo, dude, awesome. So we've got two.
I feel like I know Delroy actually. Yeah.
Yeah. You would absolutely know him from everything. He's in tons of stuff. There's a couple kids. It looks like maybe, or one kid. I can't tell. Yeah. Not a ton of people though.
Oh, that breaks my heart. That breaks my heart. Delroy was going to be part of Marvel's Most Wanted. That was going to be the Bobby Morse and Hunter spin-off from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay. I was looking forward to that back then, man. Oh, that would have been fun.
Dude, me too. Do you know what's really interesting? The parallel between what we're saying is a parallel with a conversation I was having about the MCU the other day, which is when you build an organization, when you build a film series around a fictional organization as its spine, when you take that away, it can be quite jarring and it doesn't necessarily have the same impact. Because I think part of the reason why the MCU films haven't had as much of an impact for me in more recent years is because of the lack of shield. Because when I think back to those early phase 1 and phase 2 movies, just those little moments like the post-credit scene for Iron Man 2 where you get Coulson turning up at the dig site for the hammer and that kind of stuff, it just made it feel so coherent. And I think it's the same with the Monsterverse. It's if you're going to introduce a fictional organization, you have to accept that they become the backbone for those films, and if you then take them away, it weakens the experience. Although that said, I find it so interesting because I think in that context, Winter Soldier is my favourite Marvel film because I think the way they tore S.H.I.E.L.D. down was fantastic. But I then think they never put something in that place, so it kind of all felt a little bit disjointed after that point to me. Whereas I feel like these films are at the risk of doing the same, where if, for whatever reason, Monarch isn't such a prevalent factor now, they need something else to step in and fill that role.
Yeah, there's lots of like factions of like, okay, here's where they're doing sword stuff, and they've got space
Yeah,
stuff
like
going on. They've
you've
got
got Sword, you've got the
yeah,
Department of Damage Control, which is quite
damage
prominent
control.
now, but
Hmm.
it's all
Well, they're the
quite
bad guys,
split
so
still.
yeah.
Yeah,
But it's all over the place, and yeah, you don't really feel that cohesiveness. So I kind of want it to get back to that. I want to see Monarch. I want to see them operate. So hopefully
yeah.
we can get back to that, and maybe tie it into this. Maybe they'll have
Yeah.
Lee Shaw
Hey,
in
if
the
if
next
you
movie.
if you need new actors to play Monarch agents, I'm just
Yeah,
I possibly know a guy
yeah.
who would be available.
I could do the voice of one that instantly dies. I'm good at that. Tom knows I'm good at
Yeah,
that.
you could do the voice, and I'll do the I'll do the mouth movement. Look, we're gonna
Oh,
be in
okay.
sync,
Yeah.
okay?
Ready?
3, 2, 1.
Oh, again, we're gonna die. There it is. There, yeah. So nobody on the podcast feed
That was
actually understood that, but but the video, you guys understand. But man,
Yeah.
we should probably wrap this up. That was a great season.
Yeah,
A
I think
lot
my
to
pasta
discuss,
is
and
nearly ready, to be fair.
yeah. But thank you, Tom, Tim, what's your name? For
Dude,
joining
yeah,
me on this
Tim,
Tim Jurassic or Tim Monarch, is that it? Yeah. On this journey
I was
once
going to say, I'm
again.
not Tim Jurassic. That's taken.
I know. I appreciate, all the time you spend doing all this and talking about the show, and
Dude, it's been fun. It's been so good.
yeah, wouldn't have it any other way. So season 3, let's go. Let's watch that early
Yeah, I
whenever
was
that's going to
about to say,
happen.
see
Hopefully
you
that
for
happens.
season 3.
Not even that season 3, but we also got a spin-off too. We got to talk about that. So we've got a lot. And I
We've
know
got a
people are
spin-off
like,
coming,
stop
we're
putting
gonna talk
Monarch on the
about
feeds,
that.
but hey, more's coming.
Hey guys, we're starting Back to the Future podcast. We are gonna start a Marvel podcast, and also we're gonna do a watch through podcast series of Brad watching Primeval for the first time.
No, not happening. Not watching that. I don't know why. I have no idea what it is, to be honest. But when you just described like portals and dinosaurs coming through them, I was like, okay, maybe I will. But anyway, Tom, where can people find you online while you look this up?
They can find me at Tom_Jurassic, wherever they would like, and also I don't even know what I'm trying to say now.
Collect Jurassic,
you'll
Jurassic
find me.
collectibles, all those
Jurassic
places.
collectibles. What we're about to do is you're about to hear Brad's live reaction to what I've just sent him on Messenger, which is the complete series trailer by Primeval Legacy. Shout out to Alfred for the Primeval show. Let's see what Brad thinks of this.
Here's my. Oh, this is an ad. So we've got that at least. Skip ad. All right. I got my phone on this thing. Ooh. Oh, okay. That looks cool. Oh, Wilhelm scream. Okay, it looks like Monarch.
So, for context,
I'm getting like Doctor Who vibes.
Yes, very Doctor Who vibes. The song that's on it is the song that played with the first trailers on British television.
Oh, really? What was that thing I saw before? Oh my God, Spinosaurus, maybe? Oh, wait, that thing was in Monarch. That big bug-looking thing. Was that the Indominus Rex?
Beetle. That's the Beetle I referenced.
Oh, blue. Oh, that's a wait, that was a Mutodon for sure.
Oh no, what you think's a Mutodon is a future predator.
Oh, I don't know what that is, but there's.
No, I don't know if it was when you watch it.
Yeah, maybe it is. Oh, no, those future-looking things are different than what I saw. So,
okay, interesting.
There's something else. Relive the adventure. All right. Might have to.
Do you see why I keep getting on your case about watching it now? It is literally the perfect dinosaur show.
Literally the perfect dinosaur show. Okay. I'll have to give it a watch at some point. We'll see.
Good man.
There's a lot of dinosaurs stuff that I don't watch, but I'll make an exception for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, man. Well, go find Tom all over the place, and be sure to go to JurassicParkPodcast.com, where you can find all of our many hundreds of episodes out there relating to Jurassic Park, and live streams over on YouTube every Wednesday, discussing all of the latest Jurassic news from around the world. And then, of course, hey, I do have a Star Wars podcast talking about Star Wars, so go find the Forcecast, where talking about the Mandalorian and Grogu, and I don't know when this comes out, like early May, I think. So it's not out yet, but it's coming out soon. I just got my tickets
What did
today.
I was about to be like, what did you think of the film? It was so good.
Didn't see it yet. Maybe, hopefully I've seen it, but early. I don't know.
I can't believe that Grogu killed Palpatine.
Jeez, yeah, it was. Don't spoil that. I told you that in the secret. But Maul Shadow Lord as well, covering that, or covered. I don't know if it's over. And then, of course, Grim Grinning Hosts, where we talk about theme parks and pop culture and all kinds of fun stuff over there. So go check out all of those shows, and Letterboxd, where I write reviews about things. I wrote some little tiny blurbs about the Monsterverse recently, so go check out all of those. And thank you, everybody. It's been fun.
And if you want Brad's
we'll do it again
actual
soon.
letterbox, it is 123 Jost Street.
Sure, that's it. Just send me a letter there, and I'll be sure to pick it up in a few days. Thank you, everybody, for watching this. Be kind, stay safe out there, and as always, enjoy. Keep going.